All right, good afternoon, one and all, and welcome to Base Invaders, presented by Rustoria servers and sponsored by Rusty Pot. I'm Jamerson Lee, and joining me for today's 8v8 actions, I've got Ian on the desk. Ian, how you doing?
Good evening, Jamerson, or merry time zone, I suppose. I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We got 8v8s going on, and we are entering into our first attack phase. There are multiple ways for our teams to be accruing points throughout all of this. Of course, PvP is going to be big, but here we are highlighting now the hard point.
Yeah, so with the hard point, occupation of this zone here will get you 2 points per every 30 seconds that you have it occupied. If there are two competing teams in here, which it appears that there is right now, we've got Big Kahuna and First Win currently fighting over it, then there will be no points getting accumulated right now. It needs to get reset. One whole team needs to get eliminated from the zone before anyone will start getting more points from it. But it looks like it's going to be hotly contested, which is nice.
Yeah, at least one member of First One is just making sure that Big Kahuna aren't out here accruing points for free. So he is denying that, and they're on the hunt for him. They have spotted him out, and it looks like they'll be able to fish him off. Big Kahuna getting a nice little point there, at least for PvP, and now they'll be getting the points for the hard point. And now there are other ways, of course, throughout the attack phase that you can be getting points. We've got multiple objectives, not just the hard point. We've got 3 phases of the attack helicopter that will come out, and being able to take it down and get the loot off of it will be how you get that. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. But I'm glad to see here for this week of NA that Big Kahuna are staying a little bit active here in the early game, because we've seen them over the past few weeks, past few months, as they I don't know, I guess acclimate more and more to Base Invaders. They don't tend to be that proactive.
Yeah, they have been getting better, though, I think. The scores have definitely been improving from week to week. And I like this strategy that we've got right here. I'm not sure how far they actually are base-wise from this hard point, but with First Win being directly next to the hard point, if Kahuna can maintain control of the hard point zone here, then this is going to be a really good way for them to farm up some PvP points at the same time. So
yeah,
that will put them
I
in good
see a
stead
hill right there on the right, and
yeah.
something's telling me they're probably somewhere on that hill, but not quite yet. We do have one member of First Win actually trying to find a flank, but Big Kahuna are pretty spread out on this hard point. It looks like almost every point of ingress has been spotted out. There we go. Light Shadow cannot answer back, and Nutsack will be able to take that one out. So Big Kahuna will maintain control over this. If we could take a look at the map to see who might be based around here, that'd be great. And it looks like, yeah, there isn't that many teams around. So it's just going to be the 2 main bases that are super close by. Big Kahuna is the second nearest base, and of course they are actually on top of that hill.
They have got a much better spot to look down at that hard point than First Win do. They can see both First Win's base and the hard point at the same time from up there, I think. So that is going to be advantageous to them. The base looks kind of small, though.
Yeah, this is an 8v8, and so you have to have just an enormous amount of doors and triangles, anything that you can use to try and slow things down, because we know how quickly teams can just pummel through sides. I mean, when it comes to 8v8s, you get 2, 3 rocket launchers on someone's back, and you can easily volley through walls. We do have our first patrol helicopter actually going down over here at launch site.
Well, that's an interesting place for it to go down. It's usually much closer to someone's base. Oh, no, that was Bradley that was at launch site. This is way off in the north somewhere, I think.
Yeah, so that's going to be back here, actually getting it down here in the snow. They've got pre-walls set up. They should hopefully get bags down as well. Doesn't seem like really a team ready to nest quite yet, but Top G are pushing out from that power plant side, but they'll have to deal with a nice little setup. You can see the crossfire being set up by Valkyria right now. One of the crates looks like they've already actually gone out, so they're making quick, short work of these points.
Yeah, I wonder. They've definitely had enough time to get set up for a good defense here. They don't seem to have as many walls as I thought they would have done. Teams tend to surround it quite a lot, but as long as each of them got cover and they seem to have been set up on different angles, they should have a good chance of defending this.
Yeah, and they have a good idea of where the possible counters are going to come from. They've already been spotted out. You can see the counter walls going out from the other side, the defensive walls at the very least, as they try to approach. But just slowing them down is going to be enough, really. There is a flank, though, coming out. It's just one person from Potato over there. We'll see. This could actually throw some wrench into the works for them, but right now he is still pretty far away.
I think he has been spotted as well, or he's fighting with someone else that's out of draw distance in Junkyard. But oh, he has more teammates though.
Oh, this is looking bad now for Valkyrie. I mean, it looked like a pretty good defensive setup, but all the walls were basically set up for one way. You can see Felly did have to set up a wall for himself along with Gaming Chair as Potato are pushing up. It's going to be this two-man defense on the water side of the patrol helicopter going down. And time is now ticking. And they're just hoping that at least they can get those crates, get those points. Every single crate that you pick up will accrue you points throughout this attack phase.
This is going to be really tough to defend now because they've got a great hill line, Potato, to their advantage here. And they're now getting to squeeze Vac here right in the middle. Top G don't look like they've actually managed to advance any in the background, but it's going to be real hard to cover all these angles.
You know, possibly another squad showing up to try and counter this as well, Begamot, right now. But now you do have Yogi trying to push up. He's the one with those stone walls. He's getting closer and closer as multiple members now are starting to pull back over towards this side to defend against Potato. But looks like they're getting, they're able to just walk up for free. Take a look at A, just pushing up, and now they're kind of like leapfrogging forward.
So I was about to say it looked like back here hadn't lost anyone yet, and then they just allowed Potato to gain all of the ground they needed.
Yeah, only Gaming Chair on this side. We do have Lennox. He just got taken down on top of the crates. It looks like he was just trying to give his body for the play. Hopefully he was able to pick up those crates. Career right now sitting at 20 points. Lennox, maybe he can jump up, get a few more of those crates, and then they'll be pretty much happy with this, getting the early points, and then turning their focus onto another point here in the attack phase.
Gaming Chair managed to take out, I think, 3 members of Potato there. One of them was just down rather than dead, but that was nice. I think he's actually managed to hold the fight for them there.
All right, and back over at launch site for these Bradley crates. It looks like it's going to be OT Fan Club largely taking these. They do have the inner buildings taken up. A few members of FXX and Kiska actually showing up to try and counter, but it does seem like the positioning of it, teams can't really walk up for free to try and counter this. You are a little bit exposed, but you have a nice little setup and one person up on top on that high ground at the very least. And so OT Fan Club will be able to secure these points for themselves. That puts them at number 6 so far with 13 points. We don't have a huge lead. We're only about 8 minutes into the attack phase.
Looks like Big Kahuna are probably still in charge of hard point, judging by how many points they're sitting on right now, 33. Well, the first one's still trying to contest with them. I suppose they're going to expect this, because there's nothing else for first one to do, given their position right now. They can't raid any bases during this phase. This is pretty much all they can do.
Yeah, no one really gaining points right now other than from the PvP. Big Kahuna cleaning up that one member of First Win. There's one who just entered again to try and deny them those points. But Big Kahuna are doing a great job. You can see Bagul actually pushing up pretty far ahead to cut off any reinforcements. They're actually coming from that First Win base. Now, RTZ does have to clear out this last member of First Win so that they can actually get the points. But he's being sneaky around this hard point.
Oh, I think he's duped him, you know. Oh, Caster's Curse. Shouldn't have said anything.
It is just a matter of time, but he does at least deny them that. I think at this point, I don't know if First Win want to give up any more kits. Take a look at the positioning. Once again, you have 2 members of Big Kahuna just keeping an eye on the gates of First Win. And I don't know if anyone's going to actually have the opportunity to get out anymore.
I think that player that was running around in there didn't actually have any weapons either. I was just thinking about that. And that's actually a pretty smart way to block, because if there's another enemy team, even one member of the enemy team within the hard point, then it pauses your points accumulation. But they're not going to get any points for killing him because he doesn't have a gun.
They're about to possibly get a point off Bagul there, who has been dropped. Hacker. Really, Chains only has a natural cover of the stone node to play off of here. But Big Kahuna, they're happy with these trades at the very least. First Win half pushed out once again. They're going for this wide flank to try and come around from the side instead of just coming straight from their base. But there are a few members of Big Kahuna really ready to try and deal with that so far. You can see Wing Wing is here, and it's going to be a 2-man Toxical and Potentia now on this flank.
That's a brave amount of open ground to be crossing. Oh my god. It's getting away with it as well.
Yeah, they're trying to play off the tree lines. They've got some natural cover there at the very least. And oh, he ends up getting one. It's going to create an opening. Throughout all of this, though, Big Kahuna still maintain control over it. But now, First Win are starting to push up. They're getting the trades in their favor. There's a longer run back, it looks like, as well for Big Kahuna. They really have to play their lives. The spray down, ooh, super close, but it's going to be Paciencia actually taking that win. Big Kahuna, though, still have numbers here.
Yeah, Doe's hunting for him. I think he's got a teammate just behind him as well. He's going to see him at this corner, surely.
Oh, they're facing off, and oh my goodness, that's going to be 2 1v1s now. And first win, being able to get this counterflank. Oh my goodness, a third. Huge plays coming out for Patient. Now he still has, what, 2, maybe 3 members of Big Kahuna still here. I don't know how he's still alive. Going for that challenge, Wing will finally be able to get some retribution for his squad. And things were looking good for first win, but at least it creates an opening now for them to push back.
I think they have the numbers advantage as well. I can only see 2 members of Big Kahuna in right there, but there's at least 4 or 5 members of Toxical around the hardpoint. I think they've done it. Yeah. Impressive.
Yeah.
That was a nice attack.
And it really started off with Patient being able to get that flank. He had, of course, his partner behind him as well. And you said, this is pretty ballsy for them to really be able to push across that open ground. But it looked like Big Kahuna put a lot of focus on, I think there were a few people on the roof for first win on top of their base. And they're trying to trade away with that, maybe create some covering fire for their squad. You can see now the tables have turned just a little bit. First win have pushed up to an advanced position to try and cut off any of the respawns. You do have one member of Big Kahuna trying to run in naked, like you said, maybe trying to deny some points, but he will get taken out.
He is in charge of that pile of trash. Look at him. He's just taken Boing down to 50 HP as he spawned there, and then realized it was a naked and didn't bother killing him.
Yeah, just wait. You just wait. Remember, you have to have at least a weapon on you for that PvP kill to count. It looks like Bagul, though, might be fully looted up, along with Arteezy firing back. Long-range sprays, dropped down to 18 HP. He's going to dance around, try and survive. 50, he gets 2 of those syringes off, and somehow survives throughout that, even though he's just running across the open there. Some of these ballsy plays are working out for them. Now, the second patrol helicopter has gone down. It's going to be Vakrir once again.
Oh. This is in the same position as last time, right?
Yes, it is. Right outside. Like, they could just go
I got
and
this
utilize
right there.
the same walls from the last one.
So I can only assume from then that they probably took most of these crates if they're still here. What a strange place to decide that you're going to take all your helis down.
Yeah, we typically don't get to see the patrol helicopter like go down at the same spot. Usually, if it comes in from the north, next time it comes from the south. This time around, it decided to just hang around power plant. We did have multiple teams try to counter them last time. Potato was one of them. You can see they are over there. One member of Bigamot is here as well, but for career are set up already. They've already had the walls down basically for the last 14 minutes anyhow. And so they'll be able to play around this.
They must have thought it was Christmas when that happened. I mean, it could have come in a different direction than they tagged it, I guess, but it does look an awful lot like it's just come in exactly the same way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Someone's
It's
got a
definitely not
Someone's got like a
supposed to do
16x. See it across map. Oh, nice little angle there for Submarine. Actually takes out one member. The res is there for him, it seems like, at the very least. But right now, that's allowing Submarine to push up. It's a 2v1. He ends up losing out, and D will try and get some revenge for his squad. But for Career, doing a great job of just denying and delaying. We'll see if they can sneak away those points once again. They are currently sitting in second place. Big Kahuna in first place. That's the controllers of, or they were the controllers of Hardpoint at the very least.
Yeah. Hardpoint versus Helicrates is an interesting point. It's usually just someone running and gunning PvP at this stage, in my experience. It has been a while since I've been on the desk, though.
Yeah, that's a nice thing, though, when it comes to these objectives, is that the PvP also comes your way, right? So not only are you getting the objective points, you're also getting the PvP points. But, I mean, you brought up a great point as well. Sometimes we don't see the early gains here in the attack phase actually translate well once we get into the raid phase.
Yeah, I think teams who prioritize their attack phase over what they're going to be doing in raid are generally more successful than people who are pushing objectives. But it's not always the case, so we'll get to see how it plays out for this. We've got both the Career and Big Kahuna are topping right now, so it'll be interesting to see if that does translate once we hit raid phase.
Yeah, we do have Begamot now coming out in force. Leon Kennedy set up on that flank, but he does have three members of a career actually keeping an eye on him currently. The fire's starting to go down on these crates, and it seems like it's going to be a career basically set up on top of this. Now, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to walk up for free to try and get these crates. They're not going to have that same kind of cover over the natural hilly ground, but they are trying to create a little bit more coverage for themselves at the very least. You can see now pushing up with some more walls, but angle set up by Bergamot make this extremely difficult.
It's a hell of an angle, but then I think Begamot are in the same boat because there's a big open space and their defenses are further away from the heli than the careers are. Rush has managed to get a couple of walls in just a second ago to get them a little bit closer. I think they're going to be able to take this.
They
They're
did
going to have
end
to
up
get
losing out
washed.
on one. I believe Applegate has gone down, but he is safely behind a wall. So Link will show up, get that res onto him, get him back on up. Throughout all of this, that's going to be allow an opening for the Bergamot side, possibly to try and get a flank on the right. But for now, again, it's just respecting the AK sprays of our squads. You can see for Career Link, he really wants to push out. One of the crates currently is available for him to touch, but there's another
What's,
member Bergamot actually pushing up.
what's
Leon
Leon
Kennedy
up to?
actually a naked. He's
Oh
gonna
my
be able to
god!
touch
Oh
him
my god!
for free.
Did he just get both of those? What a
Yeah, so he's
steal!
gonna be able to snipe that one away. That's actually pretty big because take a look at the difference
Yeah.
between the career and First Win, who are now currently in first place. They were the other squad that was contesting over at the hard point, and looks like Big Kahuna hasn't been able to take it back quite yet from them. So remember, every little crate that counts towards points.
You can't be leaving loot lying around when Leon Kennedy's there. That was really good. I think he was running over there to look for a free weapon or something. Looked to his left and saw that his moment had come. That's such a good
I
steal.
mean, that's what Rust is all about, right?
Yeah.
You can of course chat it up and have a great AK spray and stuff like that, but you also need to learn how to grub. And so we all go back to the basics at some point.
Yeah, he's max timing in his stats, I think.
And he's showing up once again. He just
Oh, he's doing
respawns
it
like,
again!
hey guys, I got the
Oh my
strat.
God.
I got the strat. Oh, that's unfortunate. So that's going to be the second helicopter getting all looted up, and we'll see if a career can possibly pull the third. But as we go back on over to the hard point, it is, again, first win, and Big Kahuna just challenging it this time around. It's first win with full control. You can see Toxical even pushed up onto the hill that Big Kahuna are basically based up on.
Yeah, they're actually... Big Kahuna's a lot further away than I thought, and I'm now feeling like they can't really defend hardpoint from that. It's a great vantage point for vision, but it's probably too far away to effectively hit anyone. Might not even be in draw distance at that distance away.
Yeah,
It's
with
just
10
Toxical.
minutes left to go, I feel like, someone kind of has to pivot away, right? Big Kahuna, maybe just pivot away from this one, give this one up, or you might just be happy taking these PvP points. Oh boy, Toxical. He's got almost all of Big Kahuna on top of him right now. You can see the great focus fire coming out from behind him as well, just making sure no one can push up onto him. So he has free angle on one side and covered angle on the other as well. Doe is the closest one. Toxical has dropped down a little bit low, but man, first win. You can see few of their
so
members
much
have gone
cover
back
fire.
to base.
He has so much cover fire from his team as well. The moment anyone tries to push down to him,
Oh boy, two members now pushed up onto him. Here's three members of Big Kahuna. Toxical. No, he does have to be careful. Ortiz gonna try and box him in. What is this Fortnite here? All right, Toxical, you can push out. It looks like Big Kahuna now coming out in force, but yeah, they're just putting so much attention onto him while all the members are trying to cover him from behind. There we go. They've got some coverage. They're gonna go for the 2v1. They end up losing out on one, but never mind. It's just a knock. They'll be able to get the res. There we go. They dealt with the threat, but they put a lot of focus just to end up getting one PvP point.
quite a lot of focus, didn't it? A 4v1 and half a dozen walls to boot.
At the very
It was
least, their
great
compound is
bossing.
done. So, I mean, we don't have to worry too much about the usage of walls here. Taking a better look at the map right now, we do have a lot of teams here on the northwest side, and it's kind of surprising how the split of bases are. But Bigamot, FXX always seems to find themselves in the thick of action. They always just seem to be based with a lot of teams around. taking a look at this, looks like this is the top G base. What are your thoughts on this base?
The shooting floor is absolutely gigantic. So if they're confident in their aimers, it should be relatively easy for them to defend. But it doesn't look particularly tall. It is pretty wide,
Yeah, it
however.
looks like it might be 4 tall before you get to the shooting floor, maybe 5
Yeah.
tall. And what is that? All triangles on the inside. So it could just be a maze of hallways on the inside and only supposed to be defended from the top. Can't imagine, trying to make your way through respawning or bagging in from the
Mm.
inside there. I think it's all just meant to be defended from the top. And so hopefully, they don't lose control of that. They do have what 3, 4 members here right now. So the threat of losing out on their roof control in the last 9 minutes doesn't really seem likely.
They are in a very busy area, but they'll probably be happy about the fact that they're pretty far away from FXX, I think, in this chain of bases that FFX is going to be destroying on their way there. So FFX, if aren't aware, were the team that were, well, most of the team that won EU. They were called LG in EU, and it's at least 7 of the 8 players that were on there. And
Take
they
a
did
look
just,
at FXS's roof, though. Half
yeah.
of it, of course, you got the roofs, and then the other half is just walls. And I think it's because
That's your
they
anti-roof
realized
rocket technology.
they they weren't able to build up high enough. And so they've got their neighbor right there, right? AAA,
Yeah.
that have angles on their roof. So they had to build
Oh
up
my
a
God, look
second
at
layer
this.
of walls to deal with this.
They've had the same problem, but theirs is way uglier. Look, jeez,
Yeah,
that's
all armored on this
questionably
side.
constructed. Because I don't know, is it double layered in there? Because that kind of feels like that's 2 layers of honeycomb. No, it's too hard
Possibly,
to
but
tell.
I
It's
mean,
weird looking.
honeycomb,
I'll tell
you
you that.
you need the extra walls and stuff to really provide the protection.
So
It's faux honeycomb
yeah,
at this point.
honeycomb.
Yeah, this is like the agave, or like the stevia of honeycomb.
Fulvicomb.
Yeah.
FFX's base, this looks like the same design that they used in E, right? But see this armored section here? Um, they didn't get raided until like 10 minutes before the end of EU, by which point they were far too far ahead. And their base slowly became more and more armored as the event went on. I think they were just grabbing people's armor after they'd raided, getting a high qual, taking it home and slapping it on the wall. The whole outside of this base was armored by the time they got to the end of EU. And it's a hell of a sight to see. I'm quite quite interested to see if we get to look at it again. It looks
And it looks like
very
Nova might
imposing.
just be stuck at home right now, cooking high.
Yeah, there we go.
He is making short work of the base. How many? Half of it looks like armored. And honestly, the side that probably matters, right? The team that could probably rocket raid them from roof. So they have to deal with that instant threat. It looks like the third
Yeah,
patrol
good point.
helicopter has gone down as well throughout all of this.
Like my advice right now is that if you want to beat FXX, start raiding them immediately because the longer you wait, the more of that base is going to be made of high qual. It was
Wow.
just
So-
laughing at rockets.
We've got our third patrol helicopter actually going down here on the north side. This time, though, it's going to favor the potato squad. Before, it was just not off to the far distance over there by power plant. So, yeah, it looks like patrol helicopter just decided to come in from the north every single time. 2 teams really looking to contest this one. It was potato, though. Looks like they have full control over this area right now. They've got that one squad basically contained into their base. And honestly, looking at that side door base,
That's a
what
base.
do you think of it? What do you think of it?
That is a base to be sure, Jamerson. It's got walls and a roof. I think- I don't think it's going to fare very well, would be my
Oh.
honest opinion
Oh,
to you.
no.
I feel like...
What happened to this compound?
It's that steep ground that gets you. Well, they
look at
got
the
there.
wall right there.
They got there in the end. Look, there's very few gaps in this. They're all plugged.
Okay. I was
know?
a little bit worried when we were a little bit far off on that render distance, whether or not that was an actual seal or not. It looks like it will be. No one can really just hop in there for free,
You
but
could pour a bucket of water in there and not a drop would escape.
oh boy.
Why's it got a granny flat on the top, by the way? Sorry, that's probably an untranslatable term, isn't it?
I'm just trying to figure out how they actually built this. The geometry of the roof is actually quite stellar. I like it.
It's
That they
very
were able to,
pretty. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We got a nice
Just wish there
landing
was a little
pad
bit more
for when they
texture.
get top
Maybe throw in
down.
some thatch, throw in some stone. You know,
A couple of picture frames.
yeah. You got to make it homey. You got to make it homey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And rightly so, because Potato are not allowing them to leave their base at all. So this could be a quick pivot for Potato, right? Be able to pick up these crates and then maybe just go straight for the raid. They've got this beautiful vantage point onto Sidor's base. Like the roof campers, so you got Squishy and Yogi up there. They can honestly have full sight over that rooftop and just rock it for free.
I can see all the way along. Just look at that. Yeah, no, there's a great spot. A great spot, and the hill line is completely blocking Heli for Sidor as well. I can't see Potato losing control of that.
Yeah, this is a little bit scary for Sidor. With only a few minutes remaining, you're kind of contained into your base. Looks like one member pushed out. That's going to be Dolgi and Bolotny, with a few members inside the compound currently looking to push out. So, I mean, importantly, you might not be able to get that heli loot, but as long as you have some presence on the outside before raid begins, that's important. Ooh, possible raid platform already being set up. Take a look. 2 beds already down.
I don't think they even need a raid platform at this stage. They're just, they're just up the hill. They're close enough to come round and borrow sugar. I was just laughing to myself. I know it was the perspective, right? But seeing Sidor's base and Potato's face in the same frame really kind of shows you how I guess. Look at it.
It's that like David versus Goliath look, right? Like,
Yeah. You buy yourself a nice plot of land, you put a little cottage on it, and then someone just puts a high rise right in your field of view.
I mean, that's why you got to sell to the developers. What are you gonna do? Live inside like a huge hotel. You got like a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, like right by the pool. I think actually that's a pretty big win. But that's in a regular society, right? This is Rust. This is not regular society whatsoever. Now though, Potato have lost out on 2. It looks like Submarine will be able to push up, possibly get 1 member back up, but that creates an opening now for Sidor to at least mount a defense here. We've only got 2 minutes remaining before we actually enter into the raid phase.
They're not pushing. Tense might even get away with crawling back to his teammates here across this open, which is not particularly good. Yeah, he did as well. That's not very good for Sidor. Didn't even get to finish
Yogi
that kill
on the flank.
Ooh, gets 1. Have they spotted him out now? Psycho, it looks like he's seen him. Doesn't have an angle on him, I don't think. Yeah, he's using the hill line again.
He might be able to get a second one here. The beds do go down, so at the very least for Sidor, if they don't win out this duel, oh my gosh. Yogi, no way. No way. How much HP does he have? 10. He actually wins the 2v1, and that is actually massive. With a minute and 45 seconds left to go, he takes out 2, puts them on timer, and now they're all just stuck in base.
I swear, I looked like that one bugged out and he was on 0 HP for a second there. I was like, is this man a zombie? What's going on? That was real close. I think he was like 1 tick away from dying himself.
Yeah, extremely close. And especially in that 1v2 situation. We do have 1 member of Sidor trying to go out, maybe see if he can get something going, but oof. He's already been instantly spotted out. You can see Submarine also patrolling around outside of their compound. And I don't know. I feel like this might be one of the first raids that happens in this in about a minute.
Yeah, you were saying if Potato's plan was to grab heli crates and then come here, and I think you were right. I think that might be what their plan was, considering they're now all standing outside. They're about to knock on the door.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a rule, right, in base invaders where you can't have 2 layers of compound walls, or you can't have a China wall and a compound wall. It's one or the other. But it looks like Potato are actually going to set up the 2nd row of compound walls around and take a look at all these walls around the Sidor base right now.
I question the point of this. I don't think they're even going to need this raid base that we've got set up there. They've kind of like half-assed it. It doesn't even have more. It's only got 2 beds.
Yeah, but they're upgrading their armor. They'll be fine. They just decided to upgrade to armor on this side, and Honestly, I don't know if that's going to help. Now, 2 seconds remaining, and we are now into the raid
Oh,
phase.
here we go.
This is where you can finally start destroying the other bases here. You can see the setup coming out. They've got even control over the exits of the compound now. The first rocket going straight onto the shooting floor.
This is not an ideal shooting floor either because it lacks like downward angle. They're gonna have a really, really hard time to defend this. That's assuming they have any shooting floor left, because it looks like they're getting roof rocketed at the same time.
Yeah, it's a little slow goings, surprisingly enough. Only the one rocketer. When you have the eight mans, typically you would imagine, it's just going to be an amazing volley of rocket launchers. I'm wondering if maybe they all ran over to craft or someone's transferring the loot right now.
They might be
This is one of
taking
the
their
slower
time.
raids at the beginning.
They could just be taking their time. I'm noticing that teams who think that there's a large disparity in the level between them and the team they're attacking have started farming the teams a little bit before they kill them. Which is a bit like playing with your food before you eat it, but it does tick up some more PvP points. That might be the plan here.
Yeah, now they were able to at least C4 through those compound walls. They've actually made their way through one of the metal walls up top. You can see there's an exposed door. Potato ended up losing out on one as they try to push into the breach. Sidor are trying their best to have some sort of presence on the outside, but you can see the kills that they were coming away from Potato are absolutely massive because they were already putting them on timer on the outside. Now they're putting them on timer inside.
Was that armor on the roof there before? Or was that?
I believe that one wall wasn't armored.
So they just randomly upgraded those. Okay. I think I have an idea as to where I think the TC might be, Jamerson.
Yeah, a little bit of an inkling, there.
Yeah.
But that entire roof is gone. Take a look at that. All those roofs gone on this side. There's no cover for them whatsoever. And like you pointed out as well, that shooting floor really doesn't provide them much. You can see Submarine is inside the compound for free. There's an open window for him to get into as well.
He might be able to crouch jump into that window. It's not easy, but it is doable. He's got it. Nice.
Oh, wow. So no roof access. Now, almost no shooting floor. We'll see if he can hold this one down by himself. We even had more armored on this side as well. We're wondering, of course, is that just an indicator that TC is on this side of the base, or just the simple fact that, hey, their base is in that direction? Wow.
I think it's in there, bro. I think we're about to find out, to be honest. The design is really I'm not gonna lie, I still don't know why there is an Amish barn up here. Like,
I think the point is to confuse, right? Like, if we don't know where our TC is, how can they find it at this point? But the C4 is going down. They're gonna go ahead and get rid of these doors, even though they have access. There is one turret in there, I believe, but I don't even know if it's connected. We'll find out. It is actually connected, but instantly dealt with. Never mind. One more C4 should be able to finish it off. And they have, once again, full control over this base.
yeah, I think where's Sidor? I haven't seen any members of their team in some time. Are they just chilling downstairs and having a cup of tea? I think they are.
I think
I
they might
would
have just
be.
all been on timer.
Oh yeah, I think you might be
Potato.
right. It's the people respawning in the center here.
Yeah, we got
the
6 beds
hell
up
is-
top right now. These turrets, do they not have guns in them? Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
There's no way that
they don't
actually
have guns in them.
happened.
Come on. Oh, good lord. Well, this is how you learn your lessons really quickly in Base Invaders, is the thing. So they won't do this a second time.
Yeah, armored door on the roof.
It's in there, isn't it? It's in there, isn't it?
I wonder, is the TC here? No.
Oh my god, I got baited.
Jump down. Okay. Okay,
Yes,
we did get baited.
Excellent.
I'm glad that this base had some surprises for us at the very least.
Well, yeah, the idea of having a spawn thing up here it's not the worst idea. I'm confused by the shape of it. Why is it so tall and the roof isn't closed in? It's peculiar looking. But it happens quite a lot because, like, you know this, the Base Invaders base building meta is incredibly specific. Ooh. He downed him.
Man, if he had any loot on him, if he had any guns, there was a possible defense that could be mounted here. But yeah, it's just Potato with full control over this base right now. Still trying to figure out the layout of this base. And you know what? This is actually kind of devolving into that same meta you were talking about, right? Just have a lot of doorways, have a lot of doors, just try and
Confusing
delay for as
interior.
long
Holy
as
work.
possible.
Yeah. There's nothing in here as well. Okay, right. I might be starting to turn around on this. Maybe I'm for it. I'll let you know. There's still a couple places I don't think they've cleared. It's really hard to tell because some of that's open top and some of it. They are going to find it, I feel, though. It's a matter of time, isn't it?
It seems like what they were going for is trying to maybe utilize the least amount of boom as possible. So they're going through the easier doors right now. There were a lot of doors, like armored doors in the core, right? So they possibly didn't want to try and deal with that. But I mean, for them, it's full control of this base. They're not getting countered right now. I don't know if there was any other team that was close enough to try and really counter. I believe Begamot are roughly in the area. But they're pretty far away and they're probably dealing with their own thing. So Potato can take their time here. And honestly, as soon as they finish this raid, they will have the boom basically back for them. So they're really not going to lose much at all.
Oh, found the generators, but I don't think there's any turrets left, lads, so that's not too much of an issue. I think they're just going to clear out the top here, and I think that's smart because it does seem like there's a lot of spawn and loot up here as well. I think perhaps the plan was to mount a defense from here.
I don't even know if they can anymore. So about 6 beds were taken out up top, another 4, maybe 5 inside the core. But let's go ahead and take a look at the other raids going on right now. Looks like 5 possibly taking place across the map. Also checking in with the leaderboard. First Win still in first place right now with 155 currently. Boo Spooky in second place, a team that we actually didn't see throughout the attack phase at 126, and Begamot at third with 126 as well. So it's a tie. FXX looks like we kind of expected this with the armored going down from either side. Looks like we're playing Worms here.
I love this. Gigi's PC doesn't seem to love it, and I can feel for him. 8v8s is hard to go in.
Dude, both of these squads, they kind of like drew their line in the sand, right? They both knew as soon as we saw all the armored coming out onto one specific side of their bases, it was like, this is what's gonna happen. It's 8v8s. We're all gonna have like an entire inventory, like a full row full of rocket launchers, and this is what it's gonna come down to. It's just gonna be siege warfare.
This panic building in here is incredible. The speed. He is super worried about that center core, which makes me think that he might be getting a little bit close. I did think FFX weren't faring as well on this roof fight, but now that I see how far they are in, I think it might actually be the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like, you know, they took some damage at the base. At the bottom of their base, a little bit of their roof is exposed as well. This entire thing just evolving into a rocket fight. Oh boy. FXX do have to be careful though. It looks like Begamon actually realizing that, hey, we've got the pinch on them. So they're gonna start rocketing in from their side as well. This is looking bad now for FXX. If it was just a 1v1, right? I guess the 8v8, right, between FXX and AAA, it would have just come down to who got the lucky snipe with the rocket. But now with the counters or with the secondary raid coming in, this is looking really bad for FXX.
This is pretty much what happened to them in the last like 10 to 12 minutes of the raid phase in EU, and they successfully defended against that. But the main problem was the amount of time they had left, and we're way earlier in the raid phase this time, so it's gonna be a lot harder. This is more damage than their base took the entirety of the last event, I'm pretty sure. So yeah,
this is 80 minutes remaining here in the raid phase. Oh no.
Kiska here as well.
I'm wondering, do you think Kiska are just trying to counter, maybe take out Bergamot? Or are they actually coming to raid?
Well, by being like, what are they, like the fourth party turning up, right? They're like, their options are open because they can just try and ruin this push and Bergamot collects some PvP kills, maybe adopt their raid bed that they've probably got in there. Or they could like go around to the other side and just maybe hope to get lucky and pick the side that neither of these two teams is looking at, and that happens to be the one that the TC's on. It looks like they're pushing Begamot though.
Yeah, the Rockets have at least stopped from this side. 2 members of FXX actually pushing out. Luckily, because of Kiska's presence so far, Begamot actually pushed all the way back to the raid platform. Barbarossa, takes out one before he falls himself. We'll have the backup the very least one more member, but that does stop this for now. FXX now only with Creed to try and push up to the raid platform. We'll see if he has any boom to try and deal with the beds, but never mind, doesn't even matter. He gets taken out at the very least. Again, this is kind of what, separates the good teams from the great teams, especially here on the defenses, being able to find that moment to push out of your base to counter.
That's absolutely it. Knowing when to push so that you can stop them from booming is crucial. It's very difficult.
Now taking a look at another raid, it looks like Big Kahuna versus First Wind. The rivalry continues. It was first over the hard point, but now it's going to be Big Kahuna on the raid defense. In the past, we've seen them. They like to build up on these hills. They try to find like the highest high ground that they can, buildable high ground at the very least, and quite frequently they are defending. I believe I've only seen their TC gun taken maybe once in the 8 events or so that I've casted so far.
They do make a good defensive base, I have to say. Like, I don't know what part of building up on the hill is important to that strategy, but what I'm super impressed at is how even that compound wall is, considering the state of the terrain around here. We've seen what everyone else's walls look like. That actually looks pretty perfect, which is scary in itself because that's hard to check.
Yeah, they actually have been able to push out to that raid platform. Take a look at that. Almost half the team out here. They just need the boom to try and deal with it currently. Looks like Wing is looking through all the loot right now to try and deal with the bed. So that's going to be a nice little raid defense for Big Kahuna, who are now currently sitting in 10th place. I believe we had, 16, maybe 17 squads signed up this week for 8v8s.
Unless one of those teams comes out on top, I think First Wind and Big Kahuna are only going to be seeing each other for the remainder of this raid phase. They're pretty far away from everybody else.
Yeah, that threat, like First Wind can't really leave their base to try and raid anyone else. They need to deal with that initial threat. Back over here, the Career are still inside trying to deal with this, but they're at least inside of Top G's base. They have most of the control over it right now. Now the C4 is going down.
So far inside, he's about to come out the other side here. This is an interesting place to be pushing through. I don't know if they're just trying to get clear area, maybe look for beds to clear out and things like that, because as judging by the outside of the base design, it's almost certainly that TC is not in core. It's probably in the advent calendar.
They have split up though. They have. It looks like it's going to be 2-man pods running around trying to deal with whatever doors they can. It looks like possibly the resources are in the wrong area because they're rocket raiding through these advent calendar doors. What you really want to do, of course, is run through the base with the C4 at this point. But now most of the work has been done. The defender coming out, and does he even get the kill onto gaming chair? Never mind. A second defender comes in for Top G. Clears out 2, but he ends up going down to the C4.
Worth. Absolutely. That was a good job.
Looks like for Career, though, still have basically full control of this raid right now. Again, it's a little bit slow going. This is where you really want to have like that full stack, full inventory, full of C4s to deal with all of these doors.
Yeah, I'm not averse to like rocket raiding when it's advent calendar style as well, because obviously you can use your splash damage. It is real monotonous.
Looks like our first TC got taken, unless we missed one earlier on, but that's going to be Team Rot going down to Spooky, who we don't know actually propelled themselves up to first place. And that's the first time I believe First Wind has actually lost that first place spot, and it might be a while before they can take it back if they maintain a fight up against Big Kahuna.
I don't think we've seen anything wrong yet, have we?
No, Big Kahuna, I believe, were just defending their base throughout all of this. You can see now Top G members for the defense here. They are all up top, but I don't know if they have anything to defend with currently. You can see them a little bit low as well, and it looks like they've backed themselves into a corner. The Raiders have at the very least. Now, there is one door open, but I don't know if you can actually get through that door right now, so they're still probably going to have to boom through. And, of course, it took a little while, but Potato ended up taking out that side door base.
Well, I'm sad we didn't get to see where the TC was on that one. It lasted a lot longer than I think we both thought it would.
Yeah, they were definitely taking their time. they had control of that base pretty early on. Had them all on timers for a while. And maybe they were just trying to be economical with their boom. All right, Lucid, let's see what you got on the defense. Oh, instantly dropped down to 30 HP, has to heal up. I don't even know if he has actually any heals here for himself. And right now, it just looks like a lot of the top team members are just running around with their head like chickens with their heads cut off.
That would be real disheartening, wouldn't it? When you think you've managed to outlast some team on your defense really well, and they just tell you that they were actually farming you. I can see that happening to me.
Another base ends up going down. I believe Zerg going down to OT Fan Club. The 40 points there will propel them up to 4th place now, just behind Potato, who was able to take a TC for themselves. Well within reach of first win, who are currently in 2nd place. Now, Spooky, we'll see how quickly they can pivot over to their next raid to try and keep that momentum going. But over here for the Victoria raid up against Top G, they're trying to deal with a lot of these armored walls now, get closer and closer into core.
Did they take that bait and think that was potentially TC? Because that was fully sealed in, wasn't it? It's eaten a lot of rockets. So if that was the intention, it has paid off.
Most of the members of a career are in, though. It looks like actually currently only the 2. So maybe Top G mounting some sort of defense. And yeah, a few members of a career are actually running back from their raid platform. Taking a look at the other raids around the base, we have a large, of course, contingent of bases up here. FXX still defending, and unfortunately, Bergamot are back out in force. They are continuing to boom from this side. Things are going to get a little bit more difficult because FXX, again, last time that they were able to push out, he had some counters coming in, but now their base is just actually getting torn down. You can see the armored core is up there for them to try and slow down the boom, but now they almost have no roof access. Beds getting taken out by rockets as well.
It's going to take them, even with this many teams, it's going to take them a really long time to get in here and find TC. I think like this space is outrageous.
Wow. So it's just a bounty wipe coming out for Bergamot, and I kind of like this because it makes the rebuild process, the resealing process, that much harder. So really good idea coming out from Bergamot here to try and deal with this. Hey, we've already put in a lot of work on this side. We've already boomed through. Let's make it difficult for them to try and rebuild and seal. And you can see the fruits of their labor is actually paying off right now. So they're going to be able to continue to rocket boom from a safe distance. And at this point for FXX, it looks like all might be lost.
I think someone was really upset about getting rolled in EU and has decided that there will be none of that this time. They're not going to give them an opportunity to leave their base, and it strangles them for points as well. Even if you get plenty of PvP points off the people while you're defending, you're still only going to get 40 defender points. So it's like you can't keep up with someone who's just piling on TCs. So even if they successfully manage this, it's not going to turn into a win, I don't think.
I feel like that happens to FXX often, right? They tend to base where there's going to be a lot of action, but more often than not, I see them kind of getting stuck, right? Once the raid comes, they are just kind of stuck in base because of the unrelenting pressure. Right now, it's going to be 2 teams on top of them. Kushka was just able to get a gun, and unfortunately, that's going to be a PvP point going away. You got 2 members of A inside. Bergamot actually pushing to the breach as well inside their compound currently. You can see there's still a lot of armor to go, so maybe the small sighting of sheet metal actually gives them a moment to possibly be able to just continue to pummel from that side, and they'll see that their rockets are actually making work. Done here. Now you can see the seal trying to come out. They're trying their best to seal up, but they're just not afforded any kind of moments really to do anything.
It's really good if you manage to catch the rocket with your twig wall, though, because obviously with the walls not having full health when they get put down immediately, doesn't really matter what strength it is, it's going to stop a rocket either way. So just getting the timing and sticking a twig wall down can be crucial.
They were able to upgrade 1 to sheet metal at the very least, but again, Bergamot are not going to allow them to seal up. And the unfortunate part for FXX is that this happened as the first raid for both of these teams, for A and for Bergamot. So you have to think that there's a lot more left in reserve, a lot more boom left in the tank for them to continue on this raid. Now, roof control being held down for AAA, so things are even looking worse and worse for FXX now.
I Yeah, I think you are right at this point now. Soon if they've lost roof control, it's probably just a matter of time. It's now just a case of who actually finds the TC. And that's still going to take a while, I think, even if they lose control. This space is ridiculous. Like, just
layer.
It's got a pancake layer, the size of it, the width, like the amount of advent in the doors. Oh, it's awful. I would hate to be rating this.
But there it is. Bergamot will be able to eliminate FXX. So unfortunate. Oh man, they ended up getting into the trade, right? The rocket volley trade with AAA on the hill there, and then Bergamot ends up showing up. I believe one member of a career was looking to possibly try and get into a counter here, but yeah, FXX going down there. You can see only 137 points of them. Really couldn't do much except for get those PvP points. And now, first win. They're actually finding themselves on the defense. You can see a lot of their walls on this side actually dealt with so far. It's going to be Kiska pushing up.
Kiska, I think we saw attempting to join in on that multi-team raid on FXX earlier. So I guess they gave up because it doesn't look like they've got a lot of points. They're not in the top 10, top 9 rather. They have a fair amount of damage in, but
this might work out for them. I mean, first win, we're still busy over at that big Kahuna base. It looks like you can see a few members over there on that hilltop. Bagul out there trying to take that 2v1. Drop down low and might have actually gone down. That means that the first win members have to back away. And if Big Kahuna haven't gone the raid defense points yet, if the raiders have to pull off and actually back away, that will be the raid defense for Big Kahuna. Now it's going to be first win, possibly getting pincered by two teams.
First win, I think, saw that coming though, because they are all the way out here in Kiska's faces, and they've cleared all bar 2 of them, I think.
Oh,
that should be the rest of them on timers now. Oh,
yeah, just Naked's running up looking for any kind of gun. So it seems like it was a smart choice to leave a few members still back at that raid, keep it active, and don't let Big Kahuna get those points.
To your point, though, I think I can see Big Kahuna getting closer on the opposite side, so that was very good timing. They needed to do that, or they were going to have a real bad time trying to defend from directions.
And again, it just goes to show, right, that the experienced teams versus the inexperienced teams, knowing when you can actually push out, knowing when you have an opportunity to try and defend that raid from the outside instead of just inside of your compound. First win are just going to be busy back at home, resealing, getting their compound down once again. And it looks like that will be the full clear of the first win members over at that big Kahuna base. So that's going to be the raid defense points coming over their way in just a short moment. Take a look at other raids, though, over here at Oxums. It looks like it will be Top G. Top G still defending. Potato, though, I believe going over to their second raid now.
I saw a member of Vaskreer. Yep, there they are. There's one in the team. It looks like the ones that were outside all just got eliminated. Just gaming chair on his lonesome.
Yeah. Possibly some buildup as well. And so they were trying to repair their base. And because of that, it looks like Top G were actually quick to notice the members of Potato coming on over. Rocket's actually coming out to try and deal with the raid platform. Not quite hitting their targets there. You can see the beds have been set up. The tree line might be making it a little bit difficult for Top G to actually spot this one out.
Potato would do well to maybe put someone out the other side there. That's got lots of cover for them to save Rocket, but it looks like they're all just going to concentrate on the right.
Yeah,
I don't know. Top G got a good angle down to defend on that. If they can keep people up on the roof, they might be okay here.
Yeah, you can see Potato are favoring the right side of their raid platform because of the simple presence of a career who might have been cleared out. It looks like Top G did well to defend up against that raid. Okay, we're gonna just clear out the forest now with the rockets. I mean, we're going back to like Vietnam, right? Throwing down the napalm.
He's in the way, man.
Agent Orange.
They should maybe keep those trees up. Keep that for defense on their platform.
I can't remember if the walls in front of their platform was stone or if it was wood. Ooh, two members of Top G pushing out. Crix has to be careful. It's going to be wood, actually. So won't put up much of a defense against the Rockets.
I think Yogi just died to a C4 being chucked off the roof or something. It didn't look like a rocket. I don't know what just happened there. He's back up. It looks like he just got downed. But it was a C4. Yeah, someone was throwing C4 at him.
It might have been Top G just trying to clear out the boom from inside their base. We see this from defenders, right? Sometimes where they just want to get the boom out of their base so that opportunistic grubs don't come in, get some free boom, and then snipe the TC.
Well, I mean, there's getting rid of your boom and then there's using it offensively. I would pick that one.
Oh boy. Yogi going down again. Vakrir actually this time around helping out Top G. And we have actually Vakrir, I believe, going for a flank both on the left and the right-hand side. A few members of them actually getting cleared up. You can see Lakon actually out here try and counter this raid platform. Tense will try to go for that 1v1, backs away. Now you can see the respawns coming in, but they need to get some guns in their hands. You can see now Tense will try and push up the wall out from Lakon. We'll see the right hand swing. They're matching that move 1-for-1 at this point as he backs away. And this is a huge point. If they end up losing out on this duel on the left side, that's going to leave their raid platform completely exposed.
Sure, I think this is probably why they are moving so close to them now, but they're thin in numbers, aren't they? It's just Tense that's over there. He hasn't got a lot of support. His teammates just had to return back to the raid base because he was healing. The other team member is concentrating on the right-hand side because Top G are, I think, pushing out of their base to try and clear them.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Vakrir actually put so much focus on trying to counter from this side. I don't know if they just, ended up out, losing on all their boom or something inside their base, so they need to try and steal this one away from Potato or what. I feel like they could have kind of coexisted and tried to rock it from the distance instead. But I guess for the simple fact that they were roughly on the same side of the base made things a little bit more difficult.
There are a lot of walls in between them now. You can see Tense putting down some more as well. So he's just keeping an eye out to see if they're gonna push back round, but they do not seem interested in that at all. I think they've noticed that there's a member of Top G on the hillside. Is that where Silver is? Or is he on the opposite side of that hill? It's hard to tell. I think he might have an angle down on those two Vakrir guys that are by the compound wall.
We do have actually one other squad showing up. AAA now moving on to their next raid. At least one member of AA. No, it looks like the full team actually showing up. Prosto, you can see, just getting taken out there. And it's only not concerned. Push up towards that compound wall currently.
Where are the rest of them? They're heading from this direction. I assume that is their base. Are they defending at the same time?
Yeah, remember AAA, that was the FXX space, and Bergamot are just trying to find the remnants of the loot of that FXX base, as everything has been despawned after a few minutes. So I feel like you maybe don't try and push out if you're AAA. You know that Bergamot were able to get the loot from FXX. They've got the boom as well. So you might be the next one in line for the raid. But for the next raid, it looks like Team Popa still stuck inside of their base right now. Dominic is going to try and push out. The rockets coming out, dealing with a lot of this. But OT fan club have to be careful. Trailer coming in from behind. I don't know if he's got a gun for himself or if he's just running up naked. Troika as well, spawned on the bag out on the outside.
It wasn't the thing I was supposed to be noticing, I'm sure, but I think Papa have a neon sign on their roof. We should probably not check what that says.
Never.
Let's not do that.
I've had signs off for maybe 2 years now.
Oh, no, God.
For good reason.
Yep, don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't look at it.
Oh.
It's like, I mean, OT Fan Club have got somebody trying to flank them. Is it a member of Papa? I didn't get to see the name tag there, but it's just one member.
Yeah, it looked like a few members of Pulpa actually out there, but two of them possibly bagging outside, unfortunately. Classic might be the only one who actually has a gun out there. GVB will try and get some presence out there for himself. Tempo and Troika now pushing out. You know, they have some time to try and deal with this. It's just their compound and a little bit of their honeycomb that has been taken out.
Can't take this door out.
You know, yeah. Something about this door.
It's the impenetrable stone metal door.
Kind of reminds me of like
bug.
What's that big stone thing for Mario 64? Mario, the
swamp? Swamp. Yeah, swamp. A lovely onomatopoeic name. It does look very swampy now that I think about it. Oh, there's another one up there. It's a great, I gotta say, it's a great skin. It's my favorite. It does fool a lot of people. I don't know, because you don't get a stone door, so I don't understand why it does fool people. But people are like, that's not metal. Why did that take so many?
It's offside. We can offside the stone door, guys. I would get tricked. I 100% would have. Now, Papa, it looks like, they're still trying to push out, but I don't know if they're actually making any headway. We do have a few members out there. You can see Tempo is out there. OT Fan Club might be dealing with it now. Treeler has gone down, and so it looks like OT Fan Club can go back to rocketing. Troika, though, all the way out here. I don't know if there was like another raid that ended up taking place. There's a scrappy for them to steal if they want to as well.
Did they perhaps maybe set up there to start with OT Fan Club and realize it was too far? That's kind of what it looks like. Oof, he's down.
Yeah. They don't have a platform proper out here. I don't see any beds. I see some bags.
Looks like they maybe just pushed ahead of it. I think they did. Like, sometimes teams like to land a fair distance away and get set up to start with as well.
Yeah,
that was maybe a little far
on that scrappy, but it doesn't even look like they really need that raid platform at this point. Now, once you actually push into the breach, that's where you're going to want to get those beds down, possibly. But for the time being, it seems like OT Fan Club have been able to put everyone back on timer. They're all basically respawning back on in. We've got about 3 members pushed inside to the base. And this is what you need once you get into basically the inner shell. You need to deal with all of those doors. You can see the C4 now going down.
They have a caravan outside as well. I'm wondering if they're utilizing that for the additional spawns, because they're faster than sleeping bags, if I remember correctly. Do you think? I mean, they're going through this pretty quickly, aren't they?
Yeah, they must have a feeling for like what the bag timers are like on the inside. You can see there's only 2 members up right now, possibly 3 members of Pulpa currently up, and so things are looking pretty bad. Oh, turned the corner. There we go.
We go. Nice.
That's a pretty big pickup at the very least, but you can see that the roof hasn't been controlled, or at least, yeah, OT Fan Club. They've got 2 members up here currently right now dealing with these other doors as well. So it's not completely cleared out for Papa. They still have a long ways to go. A 2v1, oh, just misses out on that timing. Looks away at the wrong time, and 2 of them are able to go ahead and peek that, take him out, and continue on with the raid.
The peak gods were not with him on that one, I'm afraid. Oh, I thought I saw the TC there, but it was just a bit of broken sheet metal door. Got all excited. That would have been a very strange place for it to be.
There's still about, 80 doors basically remaining in this space that they have to get through. So the odds currently aren't in their favor, but they are still making short work of it. Pulpa not able to put up much of a defense. They are all stuck up on the roof right now. We'll see, though, if they can push down, try to basically get control back over this raid, but things are looking pretty bad.
It's not looking good at all. The testament to Popper, though, this is a good base invaders base, Like, they might be losing out pretty heavily on PvP here, but that base is standing as it should.
That was a nice little call out. So they end up dealing with the 2-man that was up there on their peak downs, but still here on the bottom floor inside of the advent calendar walls. Most of it has been dealt with at the very least on this side. And so they still have about 3, maybe 4 members of OT Fan Club still inside of their base.
2/3 of the doors left to go as well. Slow going. It looks like they're maybe trying to clear them out a floor at a time.
Oh, some trades going down for Popa, and that actually ends up working out in their favor. 1 more member remaining. That's going to be Yikes. Actually surviving, but not for long, as Tempo goes for that challenge. Ends up taking him out. So nice little defense so far. They have 1 more member still stuck inside of that peak down floor. Actually might have just gotten cleaned up. Never mind, he's still alive with 5 HP. But Popa has been doing a really good job of going for these trades. So really good communication coming out from this team on the defense.
That's it. They've cleared all of them now. But it looks like OT are ready to move straight back in again. I feel like this is going to take them a while, and I should maybe stop saying that, because every time I say it, the TC gets immediately exploded. But
I mean,
it does look like it's going to have to be pretty methodical. Yeah.
Yeah. we're seeing a good defense coming up from Popa. They're going for the proper trades. They're not just going for 1v1s, right? They're going for the 1v2s. If they lose out, they will go ahead and send another 2-man unit to try and deal with it. So far, it is a pretty decent defense. They have slowed down OT Fan Club, who need to push in again. But the thing that's, I think, going to be a big difference maker here is that OT Fan Club are dealing with a little bit more of the compound walls now. So there are less angles for Popa to try and play in from that compound.
Yeah, it looks like most of the ones that are out in the front of the base have all despawned, so they're just gonna have to run back through the open to get to their spawns. It does kind of seem like they have good control of this side, which is going to make it easier to do that.
Looks like 2 members, maybe 3, inside once again of that base, and unfortunately Popa just were not able to win out on those duels. Now they're gonna go back 1 drop down, but into 4 members of OT Fan Club. I love the effort at the very least. Try and go for these trades. But yeah.
I think he tagged someone. I don't think he even managed to down anyone there. Poor guy. They're in a difficult spot because I think OT Fan Club have successfully managed to stagger their spawns now, so they're just never going to have 8 people alive at the same time with how many spawns they've lost inside.
Yeah, you gotta wonder how many kits they have left. Most of them have to be, the large majority of them have to be inside of the shell right now. You can see they're trying to deal with the last of these advent killing the doors. There's very few remaining at this point. You can see as the C4 lands, there's just very few doors remaining. So Popa, they might be trying to possibly regroup, like you said, as an 8-man. Their members actually coming in bagged from the outside.
Not a good sign, is it?
Yeah, things are looking pretty dire.
Oh, it does. They've had to destroy so many of these. So this is good base work, I'm gonna say. Advent calendar is a really, really boring structure for a base, and I hate looking at it. I'm not gonna lie, but it's the meta for a reason. It's incredibly effective.
Yeah, I mean, we all know from playing Rust, right? When it comes to raids, it's all about time, right? If you can delay long enough, create more and more opportunities. The longer a raid goes on, that means the more opportunities basically that you have to try and find that one winning play to win the raid for your team for the defense. But for right now, when you start running out of spawns, when you start running out of beds, that's where those opportunities end up fading. But looks like Popa have done a decent job of actually clearing out some from their base. Only 1 member actually up top on that peak down floor of winning out on that duel up top, and so he will be able to at least maintain that presence. It looks like possibly a member of Popa actually pushed out to where the setup was for OT Fan Club, and they have to F1 spawn. Oh, that's why.
That's why they're leaving.
Spooky ends up showing up just in time to save Popa.
Fortuitous timing for Popa there, because they were really unlucky with those defenses. They were never clearing them all out just long enough to get any of their defense points either. So now that they'll kill that last person and the rest of OT Fan Club have legged it, they'll probably get some decent defense points at least. I think they'll probably get 40.
And this is a pretty important fight. This is OT Fan Club getting raided now. Our number 3 squad up against Foo Spooky, our number 2 squad. So if Foo Spooky can try and if they get this TC, that's going to be a huge gap that they can put up against the rest of the lobby and really only contend up against first win. But even amongst our top 6, it's actually extremely close. But right now, first win in first place with 288 points, all the way down to Vakrir, who are in 6th with 213. So only 2 TCs really separating them.
Yeah, taking this TC here, I'll put Fusuki in first place. Just not by much, but it will be first place nonetheless. They're making pretty quick work of this wall. I don't see a lot of members of OT Fan Club trying to push out either. Maybe I saw one of them at the gatehouse. I've got 3 members on a flank actually, and they're getting really close to that bed spawn.
I think importantly for OT Fan Club is just that this raid platform isn't actually complete. Take a look at it. There's only 1 bed down.
Yeah.
So they've got no respawns, and so OT Fan Club knew they could take their time, and they used that time extremely well. Yikes has gone down, but there is the trade. Nerm, he has been sent down to the ground as well. Crazy Moon, if he can get Yikes back on up, they'll have the numbers out here, and there's only really 1 member remaining here. So this might be an opportunity for OT Fan Club to just defend the raid, seal up, and go back to their raid over at Popa, depending on how much work they put on rebuilding their base.
Is this Kiska on the defense? Alright. Oh my god, Begamot are all the way in.
Yeah, Begamot getting a little bit of revenge here on Kiska. Remember, Kiska was the team that ended up slowing down Begamot when they decided to go for their raid up against FXX, I believe. That was the opportunity that FXX utilized to try and push out and defend their raid. So now Bergamot trying to deal with them currently. Bergamot in 4th place with 252, a TC here. Wouldn't actually put them at this 1st place, but extremely close with first win.
That would definitely put them in contention. I've been thinking about whether I'm trying to decide whether I like the design of this base or not. The roof looked like it was super hard for them to defend, which is probably why Begamot are in here right now. There's just like no peek down from the roof whatsoever. There's like one gap, which is probably not supposed to be there. Yeah, it's not. It's from a destroyed turret. So see this roof setup here with all these like joined together roof tiles. This sucks. You can't see can't see anything, and the only place that you can poke your head out is right at the top of the roof. So whoever's sitting down on the ground looking at you is just going to pop you. You need to have gaps in that, or it's completely useless.
Yeah, I'm wondering as well. We saw, I believe, an M2 in play. Oh, there it is, actually, getting taken out. So the defenders actually striking back up against Begamot right now. Kiska cleaning up a few. You can see Airman able to take out one more there. So possible defense coming out with Kiska as they go for the peak. They end up losing out on one. They have at least gained control back over their shooting floor, the roof as well. Bergamot, you can see actually running back from quite a distance. So I'm wondering if someone from Kiska was able to go out and maybe take out some of those beds. Back over here at the top G base, this is the raid that seems to never end. We still have Potato and I believe one other squad. Yeah, AAA is over here along with Vicreer. And so 3 squads currently trying to make work of this base. That actually creates opportunities now for top G to try and defend.
Look at the state of this, eh? It's got a huge hole in the middle of it.
I don't know where the hole begins and the base ends, you know?
Yeah. looks like Andrew Tate's hairline.
Oh, you gotta do him like that, man.
I mean, they will call themselves top G. They deserve it.
True.
This is good though. Look, oh my god, look at the labyrinth.
Yeah, this is probably the saving grace for the base currently, but it seems like almost all of the doors have basically been dealt with. You can see all the advent calendar walls on the shell are out, and now it's just about finding that one last door throughout this entire labyrinth. Just a few actually remaining from these advent calendars. It'd be pretty unfortunate if it is actually one of those. But you can see the C4 now just putting in short work here. So it's just a matter of time. This top G base should be going down in the next few minutes.
That's gotta be the worst feeling, right? When you're trying to destroy one of these like multiple door advent calendar style, and you just have to keep doing every door, and it's like the 3rd last one on the base that has the TC behind it. It's because you started in one place and went clockwise instead of anti-clockwise.
Yeah, just that 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
If we had just started left, we could have been great 10 minutes ago.
I don't know. This could actually go to anybody as well. This is the problem when the base gets like as disjointed and messed up. Like there's so many through corridors and everything. It's really hard to tell and keep track of where the rest of your team are. It's gonna be somebody behind you, and it's not even a member of your team.
Yeah, I mean, we got Potato, Vicreer, and A. 3 different teams actually inside of the base. Some top G members, actually, I don't even know if there's a single top G member inside the base proper. There it is. Captain B is on the roof, but he's just scrambling to look for any kind of weapons to defend with currently as the rockets continue on this side. And so it looks like it's just going to come down to pummel instead, as in that chaos, like you said, it's just so difficult to keep track of not just where your teammates are, but where you guys have boomed.
Hey, yeah, that's the hardest part, I think, is trying to keep track of what you've checked. That's how you always end up with these tiny corridors that have one door in it and everybody's just ignoring it, because when you're actually in here, it's really difficult to keep track just of even where you are, let alone which parts of the base you've already been through and checked. It's very hard to be thorough.
You can see our observer right now, Gigi, just not one continuous movement throughout the entire base. That's how much work has been put into it. There's only looks like possibly like 10 remaining doors throughout the entirety of this base currently. Oh, and it's just come down to an absolute brawl and even some breakdance battling.
Nice, that's Spinneroonie.
Hit some 90s, yeah. Then with the air baby and stuff. Yeah, I remember my breakdancing back in the
Booker T
days.
style. I feel like, see, the other issue, right, is that even though there's only a few places left, when you've got a base that's been built like that, really confusingly inlaid in the structure, you can also, because you remember, the TC room has to have a door on it, but the room to the TC room have to have a door on it, I don't think. So there's really lots of really annoying places you can just hide a TC in this that aren't immediately obvious. You can think that you've cleared up the whole thing.
This is one of those bases at some point where you're just you just go for the founding wipe. You just get so frustrated. You're like, no, let's just founding wipe this. Let's get rid of it. Even though there's only just a few doors remaining, just a few doors remaining. But the constant threat of the counters, the constant teams coming in and funneling their way on in is making it so extremely difficult for anyone to finish off. Like for top G, there's no shot they end up defending this at all. It's just a matter of who ends up being lucky at this point and finishing off the raid.
Yeah, this is. I think while these three teams pick apart the corpse of the space, it might be ample opportunity for us to take a little break. So I think we'll probably take that for the next 2 to 3 minutes, folks. We'll be back with you very soon with the rest of the raid phase.
All right, welcome back to Base Invaders. We took a short break there, and throughout that time, of course, as soon as we took the break, Top G ended up getting taken out, right? Sent back to his jail cell. But here we are with Kiska on the defense up against Bergamot currently. And Bergamot have been able to push into the compound so far. So Kiska still have their work cut out for them, but they have some members at least on the outside for the defense.
Yeah, they're doing actually a really good job of this defense here. Like, despite you'll have noted that there is no one on the roof, Jamerson, trying to defend. They've all moved out their lower shooting floor. Why that could.
Yeah, we do have 1, 2, 3 here on the right side, and so that's going to stop Bergamot from actually pushing in to the compound. But no, he gets flanked. Barbarossa actually worked his way the entire way around the compound. And so the one member of Kiska that had some presence on the outside has been taken out. Now for Leon Kennedy, though, you can see that maybe the timers on their beds are a little bit high there. So it's quite a bit of a run back for them at the very least. That does mean moments of opportunity for Kiska. I feel like they should have a good sight line onto these beds. So if they could just get someone on the roof with the rocket, they can just deal with these beds and make this raid that much harder for Bergamot.
Yeah, you would think they've got a good downward angle. I think the problem with that is that they've got nowhere to peek on the roof.
Oh man,
I'm not gonna let it go.
Oh, Bergamot are inside again. You can hear the C4 actually popping off now, and so that's gotta give them some moments of pause. You can see Poppy trying to deal with that threat, but they haven't full committed inside of there. One member of actually Bergamot on the roof right now, so things are looking a little bit scary for them.
Oh
and,
my
Kiska
God.
not able to win out that duel.
I think his teammate avenged him there, did he? Is he
Yeah.
still running? That was that
dropped down.
turnaround. He should. Oh, he whiffed that some hard. They turned around and slapped him there.
Oh, that's the roof, and now the shooting floor gone for Kiska. So this raid defense, it is looking a little bit dire for them. You can see now the beds being dealt with as well up top, and so the moment that Kiska had to actually try and push out and counter this is basically gone. You can see a few members on the beds of Bergamot actually outside. We'll see if they can find anything, maybe something to come back in with. As we say that, though, it looks like Aoga taken out by Gadika, who now find themselves in 5th place. Between them and first for first win, there's a 70-point difference. So as the TCs start running out here, things they need to start picking up the action. Bergamot back inside the base now. C4 going down once more.
This is very close in this top 5. I would like. It's only really a TC between most of them. So it could really go anywhere. I think the most likely outcome at this point is that we're going to lose one of these top 5 teams. Someone's going to jump up a position that way. Especially considering there's less of them left.
I think one thing I'm looking at was first win, right? They had their eyes set on Big Kahuna, and so that might be another raid that's going on. We had OT Fan Club with the raid defense a little bit earlier as well, and I believe that was Spooky that tried to turn around for that one. And so now, really, there's only the top members going after each other, gunning for each other for this top spot.
That's a good point you just made there about Big Kahuna and First Win. That they're still both here, which I was not expecting to see because they're right next to each other and not really near anyone. It doesn't seem to have done anything for First Win's points accumulation either. They're way out. I wonder what's going on over there.
I believe they got a raid defense. I believe the last time we watched them. Oh, TC, did he get missed? Does he not have boom?
I think he definitely must have seen it. He must not have boom.
I mean, that's where you just start AK spraying into it, right? Okay, we'll see. Bergamot, they're 40 points on the table right there. There we go. Hey, it's over here, Leon.
Leon's pointing at it. He pointed at it.
Has to call over his boy. There we go.
Where is it, boy? Where is it, boy? Surely.
What is it, Lassie? Someone stuck inside of the honeycomb.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. There are the 40 points going over to Bergamot. That's going to put them into 2nd place now, 11 points down from first win. Going over to the Foo Spooky base, it looks like there's a fight over the remnants of this. Remember, Gattaca were able to take out Aoga just before. I'm expecting them just to try and get all the loot from this one, but Foo Spooky are here to try and counter them. and steal that away.
God, this is a mess. So we've got... Oh, right, okay, so Godigas still have someone from this roof spamming into the back of his boogie. I don't think they're actually hitting any of the players, but I'm sure that's annoying nonetheless. Wow, they're going to steal this, I think.
Yeah.
Or rather, defend it. Am
Like,
I confused as to what base this is? Is this Spooky's base that's defending? The name
I
tag?
believe this was the raid that Gattaca just won.
Right.
This should be Aoga's base, and they're just trying to get the loot. They're waiting for everything to despawn. You can see, yeah, things are now starting to despawn on this base. They're just trying to pick up this loot because we didn't really get to see. Okay, Aoga out in this in a lot of these battles, and so they might have just been stuck inside of their base. And
Base is being eaten by Pac-Man right now.
Yeah, there we go. There's the despawn going down, but you're still stuck inside. You can see Spooky is here. Hickstar is going to try his best to play around the large furnaces on the outside, but Glee has him pinned down, and you can see Argent through the doors of possibly helping him out, giving him information for where he's peeking. So even though Gattaca ended up getting the 40 points from the TC, they're not going to walk away with any of the loot. And unfortunate, because honestly, at this phase of the raid phase with 30 minutes left to go, you're starting to run on empty. Your tanks are running out, and you need to be able to pick up the boom and the sulfur from these raids.
Yeah, they really needed that, especially considering it was the people who are just above them in the scoreboard that denied it to them as well. That's probably going to sting.
Yeah, 26 points separating them and Spooky. So Spooky now can try and turn this one around, and I believe they're based right next to each other. So this should be the next raid target for them at the very least. You can see NN actually trying to make some presence on the outside. Really no need for a raid platform here with the distances that we're working at. We might see some roof rocketing going on as well.
Could we have a look at Spooky's base a second here? Because it's huge. It's just behind you. There. Look at the width of that. That is gigantic. I think if a lot of this ends up being roof rocketing, I think who's going to win that battle.
Yeah, for Spooky, they're just taking inventory of what they were able to pick up from countering end of this raid. We do have two still persisting. It looks like Bergamot actually on the defense now. Vergeer have shown up, and we've seen these two teams battling it out. A lot of the compound has been dealt with. You can see the rocket now coming in. Bergamot have been, looks like, respawning back at home. Potato actually showing up as well. And that's going to be from the opposite side. So this could be a difficult defense for Bergamot, who honestly just have to survive 30 minutes, though. So this is a completely doable defense.
I think so as well. But this doesn't look like they've made a tremendous amount of damage. Oh, see? Stop saying anything. Onto the shooting floor.
Yeah, their bed's exposed now on that rooftop.
As I said it. Yeah.
A large portion of that side has been dealt with, but you can see the repairs coming in now for Bergamot as well. Getting it up to sheet metal, pushing out on the defense as well. So really good presence of mind coming up from Bergamot here. It looks like they've got dedicated members, right? Like, hey, who's back at home defending and who's pushing out? But that's where things become a little bit more difficult when Potato end up showing their presence and set up the raid platform.
Yeah, I think, yeah, to your point, like, I think they have good definition of roles, and that's not good timing. But it has meant that the push from Vakir on the other side seems to have slowed right down, and all that repair they just put in will now have gained full health. So they do have that going for them, but it's going to be difficult. This amount of rockets coming in. They've got a lot of boom.
Yeah. They are just pummeling onto this side right now. Vakir actually helping out a little bit there, but Bergamot trying to rally their forces once again, get back into base, get looted up. They do have one member trying to push out onto Potato's side. Barbosa is there as well to try and help him. That's going to be possibly an exchange. No, Zero ends up surviving with about 20 HP. Barbarossa is here to try and push out once more, but you can see Potato instantly putting focus onto him. 3 members out there. He will get cleaned up.
It looks like they've got firm control of the raid base. I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Not even the mighty Leon Kennedy can stop them.
We'll see
He's
if
my
they find
MVP,
an opportunity to push out, but yeah, things are bad right now. They still have access to their roof, but their career now are just kind of rallying once again, regain the composure after a little bit of a loss that they ended up taking. But now for Bergamot, I keep saying Bergamot, but it's Begamot. It looks like one member will try and push out to the compound, but a lot of the compound has been dealt with. I believe 3, maybe 4 walls were taken out on that side, so the angle's not as clean for him.
That's absorbing a lot. Boom. Like, I'm really surprised because they're really concentrating their fire on that pot, and it's eating it up. I think I just assumed that we had both assumed that they'd spelled Bergamot wrong. And that's why we were calling them Bergamot.
I mean, I spent many years working at a coffee and tea shop, so like that's all I see. Bergamot, you know. Get myself some nice Earl Grey, but for Bergamot right now, yeah, things are looking really bad. There's almost no defense coming out on this side. Potato are just able to free spam into their base, and a lot of this outer shell is just basically gone, and they've actually completely lost out on all the angles they have on the roof to try and counter this.
Yeah, they've lost lots of angles. They've still got some space on the roof, but it's so open now that they're going to have to worry about counter shot as well. And look at the other side.
Yeah, for Career have actually been able to push up into the base since looks like only maybe one member of a Career are in here, but at this point, this is where it's so difficult to call, like, hey, which side do we try and defend from? If you try to split up your forces evenly, maybe 4 on the one end and then 4 on the other, you're still in a losing battle in the trades. Throughout all of this, though, Bergamot still pushing out. There you have Leon Kennedy on the outside with one more member. 3 actually pushing out on to that Potato squad, but they've instantly been spotted out.
There's a whole bunch of them there. I think this is the right play. They have to take one of the teams out before they're going to be able to defend against the second one. So they have to push out and kill one of them. They've picked Potato. It's probably 50-50. I mean, it doesn't look like it's worked very well either.
Yeah. At this point, all you can really hope for is possibly a counter on the other side to slow things down, but the Career are in here, multiple members with C4 going down onto these doorways, still rocketing from their platform as well. Bergamot putting all that focus onto this side, and they're starting to run out of spawns. We saw the rockets being able to connect onto the rooftop beds as well, so this might just be their last-ditch effort, you know, their William Wallace moment to try and defend their base.
Was that for my benefit, was it? I appreciate
one out there.
Thanks for recognizing the culture. I feel like they're still about to meet. They've actually, there's way more routes that have already been cleared through that wall than I thought there had. There's a lot of the inside of that's already hollowed.
Yeah, the only reason why Potato aren't inside the base right now is because of that moment that you talked about. Bergamot pushing out to try and deal at least with one of the threats, but that left the other side completely clear of a Career now. Clearing things out as we have OT Fan Club getting taken out by AAA. That was our 4th place squad. You can see them only 2 points behind Foo Spooky. That's absolutely massive, but that might be setting us up for basically 3-way race between First Win, Begamot, and Foo Spooky.
We've got a lot more teams left than there were at this point in EU as well, so I mean, it's going to be a lot more carnage, I think. There's still potential for upsets and random teams to be getting taken out real late.
Yeah, 26 minutes remaining, 8 teams still remaining as well. It might be 7 as... Man, the Career, as soon as they got in here, they actually were quite efficient at dealing with a lot of these doors.
I was just thinking that. They've gone right through, like they've tunneled their way through most of the sides now, cleared out, I think, 2 whole sides from the angle they pushed through, which is unfortunate for them because that means TC's probably not at the corner that they've decided to make their entry.
For Career, though, now things have slowed down. It looked like someone actually was able to push out for the counter and deal with some of these beds. You can see nothing on that raid platform. Begamot tried to make a play for it, and that does at least slow things down. Again, it's a lot of times when it comes down to these raids, it's about finding time. It's about being able to slow down the raiders, and then from there, mounting a defense. I don't know if they're going to be able to seal this one up. So much of the base has gone down, but that's a nice little trade for Bergamot, and We don't hear any more boom. So they were able to actually deal with this two-pronged attack. Now going over to Popa, looks like possibly the next raid for AAA, who currently are sitting in 7th place. So yeah, they have a lot of catching up to do. And so they need 3 TCs just to be able to catch up.
Oh my. Oh, there's a lot of people here. Let's see, Gagi for Spooky and First Win all attempting to raid Big Kahuna. Why have Big Kahuna suddenly become the kid to pick on? What's that? For guys,
I think for everyone else, it's if you hear the boom, you just gotta make sure you show up for the raid, right? You don't want a team to kind of run away with it. You need to find that opportunity to try and steal something away, make sure that gap doesn't grow any bigger. So, I mean, for all the teams to show up, this was the right raid because it's First Win and Foo Spooky. 2 of our top 3 teams currently. Gattaca as well, currently in 4th place. They're about 100 points off, 94, 95 points off from first place. So making sure that they don't get gapped too much is an important point.
1 point between first and second place here.
That's the Bergamot base, though. And so I don't know if they'll be able to maintain that first or second place position. I mean, if they end up defending, that's going to be huge raid points for them. But yeah, a lot of their time was wasted there. You can see Gattaca, they do have someone trying to counter First Win out here, but it's a 3v1. I don't really know if you're going to be able to win out on that one. So they clean him up, and now they'll be able to turn their attention back over to this Big Kahuna base.
I think he hit a couple other beds, but probably didn't make a big of an impact as he wanted to. This base, like, is interesting. I feel like I worked in an office that looked like that. Didn't have so many spikes on the roof.
Just all these liminal spaces kind of blending together now, right?
That's it. Yeah.
That's where you know you're getting up there in age a little bit.
Called out.
Ooh, Kahuna Ducky dropped down off that roof. Oh, he almost took out 3.
Toxical got away with his life and a shoelace there.
And there it is. McCreer ends up dishing out the final blow onto Bergamot. That was our 2nd place squad getting taken out. Now that's First Win with a clear lead. Or the rest of the lobby. They have about a 68-point lead currently over Foo Spooky, who are showing up for this raid at the very least. So First Win versus Foo Spooky basically in a race for this TC. Big Kahuna though have been able to push out. They're still trying to defend. Not too much damage going down into the base yet, but here comes the volley out from Foo Spooky.
This is not a good situation for Foo Spooky. First Win are on the other side of this raid. They could just easily just stop trying to raid and just harass them and they'll never catch up.
Yeah, I think if they get confirmation of names, but oh, take a look at the amount of rockets coming out. This is where, yeah, you got 2, 3, maybe 4 rockets on rocket launchers on the backs of all your team members, because that was easily about 15, 20 rockets that just came in the last 30 seconds.
6 slots, rocket launcher in each one. Boom, 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 boom. In fact, did they fix quick switching, or is that still viable? I can't remember.
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, typically, you know, I feel like especially when it comes to like smaller squads, right? Because I typically play in like 3s or 4s. I don't play in big squads, and so we're not typically running around with multiple launchers.
Yeah.
Oh no, boy!
It is a rich man's problem, isn't it? Oh, he's all. Oh, got a gremlin in their engine.
Yeah, they are inside now. First Win are the C4 and the rockets onto a lot of these doors, and this is a little bit deceptive. We were expecting a lot more of like the advent calendar doors, but there weren't actually that many. Take a look at those bare walls. So that might end up working against them.
Well, I think they've gone for that style where the doors are like horizontally along the corridor instead of facing the outer way, which is like an evolution in the advent calendar. I think is also more effective as well because it forces the attacking team to tunnel through all these spaces like this, whereas like advent calendar, obviously you can just run around the core and through all of them. So I think it's pretty good defensive wise.
But the boom hasn't stopped. You can hear First Win and who was it? Foo Spooky have been unrelenting so far on the boom. The rocket's still going, the C4 still going. Big Kahuna are trying their best to defend, and This is what, First Win's possibly third attempt at this base. I don't know where First Win ended up getting all these points. 431 for themselves. And the important part to note as well, remember, we were talking about First Win during the attack phase. And we were talking about teams that don't transition well between the attack and the raid phase, but it looks like they have done that well.
Yeah, I cursed it, didn't I? I said that doesn't happen, so it did. I'm telling you. Is this got to be one of the last doors at this point, right? Well, there's still a couple more spaces.
Yeah, and there's still 20 minutes remaining as well. And it seems like Big Kahuna have maybe lost complete presence on the roof inside their base as well. As you can see, just biding their time now. Might have run out of C4 for Patient there, as he had multiple doors to go through. And that might have been the last of his boom. We'll see. Looks like he's got some first. Oh, there it is. The TC for Big Kahuna going down. You can hear instantly as soon as that TC is gone, the boom stops as well. So First Win now with a commanding lead over the rest of the lobby. That's 109 points above Foo Spooky, who we're looking to counter this raid. As we join on board with another squad. Opa actually pushing out. Wondering if Popo were looking to get involved in this raid as well.
Well, too late. They're not looking like they're lost in one direction to where the pool is, man. Like, we haven't seen them in ages as well. They supposed to spend a good portion of their raid phase in that defense that they were doing. I'm surprised that they were successful in that. So, good on them for still being here at this point.
Yeah, I believe, what was that? That was that the OT fan club raid earlier on? And they had to pull back because of the raid. They had to F1 and go back to base. And so Popo are showing up a little bit late here for this raid, but there's still a lot of members around. So possibly, 16 PvP points, maybe some boom for them to pick up. And I believe if they wanted to possibly be opportunistic with the boom that they could possibly pick up, you've got that First Win base on the bottom of the hill.
Yeah. This is where everyone has to go now, right? Because that's the next closest base, and they're ahead by a significant margin. So if everybody isn't just packing up and heading over there right now, I don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, there's only 7 bases remaining, 7 teams remaining here. So as the targets dwindle, really, the first place team puts a target on their back. It's just not too many teams have been out here in this area, right? So have they been able to scout where First Win is? Do they know exactly where the target is? Ooh, Gattaca picking up on that Scrappy. But there's only one person from Foo Spooky actually spraying them down. They moved over to the next base, though. That might actually be First Win's base where it is.
Yeah, I think we might be right. Is it that N10 one? Yep. Here we go. Now we get to see this design, because I like this design. I want to see how it fares.
What's important for First Win is that they're instantly back at base. They're looking to defend, right? They don't want the boom to start, because I think once the boom starts, that's where every other team starts to turn their focus onto. So they need to deal with this quickly.
They're holding out Gadaika quite well there. They haven't even managed to get the raid platform finished, and they've already got a couple of members pushing out. It's quite far away for the flank, unfortunately.
Yeah, that Scrappy placement might actually work against them. They might have to move that to try and put some more walls down. First Win now starting to regroup, and it looks like a few members are ready to push out against this. You can see Toxical and Kukushka out there at the compound door, and you've got one member of First Win actually coming in from the left-hand side.
I don't think I'd be getting in that helicopter. Like, it looks like if you sneezed on it, it would explode.
Ooh, Simon ends up taking out one, but yeah, First Win. Instantly, they knew what the threat was. They knew that they could not allow any boom to go down over here. Otherwise, the entire rest of the server would be at the space.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good job as well. That's them all cleared out. Free helicopter.
Did they get a raid defense? Because there was no boom, right? So they don't even get raid
defense. I don't even know if that counts. Yeah, well, I mean, they probably did bullet, minute bullet damage to the wall, but it's probably only boom that counts. So yeah, I don't think they even got any points. Well, they got their PvP, but yeah.
That was a huge pivotal moment for First Win. Clear ahead in the lead by 112 points. There's almost not even enough TCs left for any team to catch up. We've got a raid, though, going down over here on the west side of the map. It's Team Popa back at their base to defend. Vakrir have shown up with the Scrappy. They haven't fully set up the raid platform quite yet, and Popa are already ready to deal with it. Looks like Vakrir might actually get out of here and choose a different target.
There, because there's a air on the hill line. I think they've decided that they don't want none of that.
Yeah. Retreat. It'd be interesting though if AAA decide this is where they want to take their next fight. They are currently in 6th place with 298 points. No real opportunity. Almost mathematically unable to catch up to first win at this point. There's 100 and some odd points, 200 points actually separating them. So yeah, almost mathematically impossible for them to catch up at this point.
Watching the career book out there was absolutely hilarious. I really enjoyed that. So back in the helicopter. Pause, fortunate son. It's not the time.
Oh, look at them. They're doing like a wide swing around, a wide circle around. And everyone realizes, hey, no raids are going on. All we can do is try and steal away this PvP kill. But Vakrir are able to evacuate the LZ and get out of there.
I like how Parakeets and his teammate just stopped their progression towards Papa's face to take pawn shots at that helicopter.
Again, so second raid thwarted even before it began. I think they got like maybe 1 raid defense point throughout all of that with how short the raid was.
I think Papa have got a hex on that, mate.
All right, but it seems like we might have hit that phase where teams might have run out of boom, and so it's going to just come down to PvP. But that huge lead that first win have right now, and so unless it becomes a concerted effort from the rest of the lobby to try and knock them out, or maybe Foo, Spooky, and Vakrir turning their focus onto first win, hey, we'll be able to walk away with this one. There's 13 minutes remaining, and so I don't know if that's going to be enough time to finish off a raid.
It's pretty tight. The base is already going to have taken a bunch of damage to get it done in this amount of time, I think. I don't see it happening now, not unless someone gets really lucky and just burrows in there, gets some time to themselves, like a first winner out still raiding, overconfident maybe, but yeah, doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Yeah, they were really quick on the response, right? After that CC went down, they were instantly back at base. They didn't even care about the loot. It's like the only way we lose now is our TC's gone. Oh, someone is over there though. And it looks like it's gonna be Potato with the attempt on this one. And now Foo Spooky. This is what we were looking for. Foo Spooky, Potato now rating first win. But you can see the absolute presence coming out from first win. They have a few members outside, a few on the roof as well. You can see 1 member of first win dealing with Vakrir's push. Excuse me, Vakrir and Potato's push. So 3 teams have shown up for this.
I like this. This base looks like a fortress. It's incredible. I think they've armored up a bunch of it since the last time we looked at it as well. I don't remember it having high call on the sides. Is it just that side? It's just that side.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this was just because of the rebuild. And so they decided to high qual, or if it's an indicator that TC might be on this side. I don't know how many people actually can remember after 80 minutes of the raid phase, 30 minutes of the attack phase, where their own TCs are.
Toxical's pushing out towards Foo Spooky.
Yeah, you got actually a few members of them out there, and another, I believe.
Oh, he's in between.
Toxical. He's up on Potato's beds right now, but he got cleaned up. Unfortunately, 3 members were ready to peek an eye onto him. Light and Shadow will try his opportunity. He has been spotted out as well. 11 minutes left to go. You can feel the desperation. You can feel how these teams want to deal with first win, but you can see how much the armored walls are helping out in this defense, and the rocketing is slow going basically for Potato here. Wait,
it's really depressing to try and break open an armored wall.
Oh wait, that's all Vakrir. Okay, I just saw 2 Scrappies flying in. I was like, no way is the entire server actually showing up here, but that was actually just Vakrir setting up now. And I mean, we were talking about the caster's careers coming in, and here it is.
Oh my god, there's another one.
the mini.
Now that's not allowed. That's terrible behavior. Whoever that was, they paid for it with the life.
He actually just got shot out of the sky. Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, the siege begins onto first win. 10 minutes to go. If anyone wants a chance at sniping away first place, well, they need to snipe away this TC. Boo, Spooky, and Recreer. They're the two teams that can walk away the victors today with this TC take. Potato, there's a small world if they could pick up enough PvP kills in the next 9 minutes, along with a TC, to possibly walk away with first place.
It'll be real close. I feel like somebody's told these guys that whoever gets the TC can get their parking validated for their helis. So many of them around here.
Yeah, growing up in LA, I know that feel. $30
helicopters
an
are trying
hour
to
for
fight
parking in downtown LA, man. $30 an hour for parking.
God damn, that's more than I get paid. Out earned by a meter. But this is a significant amount of damage, but I'm still not even convinced they can do this in the time they've got. Especially, the most advantageous thing for first win would be to see if they can bait as many of these teams in closer as they can get, because their actual raid progress will slow right down when they have to deal with each other for PvP. If they're all just going to sit on the outside like this, they can just rock it as long as they like.
Yeah, we have 3, maybe 4 members of first one actually outside of the compound, or in the compound right now. 1 member actually pushing out onto the raid platform over that Spooky side. Potato, surprisingly enough, is the team that aren't basically getting dealt with. Oh boy, the entire server actually has shown up. The entire server actually has shown up now. Gattaca's scrappy here, but they are getting focused now. Potato has spotted them, but maybe you just let them land. Maybe, because you need this TC gone.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit hard to stay your shooting finger, though, isn't it? Like, I probably shouldn't shoot at them, but I'm gonna shoot at them.
You're looking at them 1x2. You see a scrappy full of like full metal armor, 8 men inside. I shouldn't have
done that.
Oh boy. Okay, with 7 minutes to go, this is now doable for someone to take out first win at the finish line. To say the least. Now you can see Potato inside with that rocket trying to deal with the doors, and with 7 minutes to go, this just feels like it could be an eternity if you're the defenders.
I do not envy the position of any of these people trying to get through this monstrosity of a thing in 7.5 minutes. It looks like yeah, so many door corridors through here as well. That's going to be awful. That whole core is probably door corridors, at least on the bottom floor, if not multiple floors. Yeah.
I think this is defendable. I've seen Alone in Tokyo do this, right? 40-man Zerg. One solo defense against the 40-man Zerg, which is basically what this has devolved down into. There's the entire server basically inside of this base, or here at this raid right now. We got Gattaca, Foo Spooky, Vakrir, Potato. I think the only 2 teams, AAA and Popa, have not shown up for this one yet.
Quite literally a 40-man raid. There's just so much to do, though. Oh my god, that is outrageous amounts of food.
It sounds like the 4th of July out here, and I don't even know, as first win, like, how often are you put in this position where you have 4 teams raiding your base? Oh my god. There's still so much left of this base left.
Jamerson, if I was in this raid, well, maybe not so now because I got a little bit of upgrade, but generally speaking, I would just be on the top of the roof getting 2 FPS.
The screen just won't stop shaking. The boom has not stopped. It has not let up. You got rockets. You got C4. Potato is inside the base. Boo Spooky is as well. This is where you just get completely lost in the sauce. You're not looking for markers. You're just shooting anything that moves.
There's so much boom. I think the server is lagging a little bit. This is obviously what everybody saved it for. Look how much punishment is taken as well.
Easily 60 C4, 100 rockets at this point. It is withstanding quite the beating. And I think it was around the 10-minute mark where all these teams ended up showing up. So for 5 minutes of continual boom, non-stop boom, it has taken quite the beating, and it is putting up a decent defense.
It's going to be very interesting to see. Our first one going to make me eat my words and actually make the attack stage important.
They did end up walking away with about 130 points, I think, from the attack phase. And so that is the gap right now. They do still have defenders in here.
100% their plan as well, because they were parked. The first thing they did was park right next to the hard point.
Oh boy, 4 minutes. Now, First Win can only hope that the teams end up running out of boom, but...
Doesn't sound like they're running out of boom, does it?
No, it does not stop whatsoever. You can see now, though, there are still fighting taking place out in the outskirts of this raid right now. So just slowing them down could be enough. I don't think you try to defend from the inside. You just try and defend from the outside, get them on timer, and then go back on in. But you can see that a lot of the hallways have been dealt with. But we go back to that point. You just kind of get lost, right? You don't know where you made progress in the corridors.
If I was a First Win player here, I would probably be running around the inside just randomly doors back to screw with people.
I could have sworn I blew this. That's if they even have bags, if they even have spawns. But we saw that a lot of the roof was exposed up top, and so now I think
a lot of them are outside fighting. Yeah,
they're all outside fighting right now. You can see the boom has not stopped. It is not relenting one bit, but the tempo of it, you can definitely tell, has slowed down at least.
Yeah, it's more of a tombour now, I believe. It's been a while
it's all
since
gonna come down to the crescendo as well. Just 3 minutes remaining. we can go all day.
That's my fault. I went there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take stock of what's actually going on in this raid. Now, First Win, it seems like a few of their members have respawned on the rooftop, but it's a mixture of all the teams. AA finally have shown up with 3 minutes to go. You can see Wizard out there along with Not Concerned. So yeah, it is the entirety of the server. It is a concerted effort coming out from everyone remaining here to take out our #1 spot, First Win. They currently have an 127-point lead over the lobby, but it might not matter if their TC gets taken out in the next 120 seconds.
Big F. Look at the state of this thing, and it is still standing. It's... yeah. Ripped open like the packaging on my microwave lasagna.
Why would you microwave lasagna? That's one of, like, I don't know, I feel like one of the worst foods you can go for when it comes to like TV dinners.
I don't know. Blame my ADHD. Food takes too long, bro.
Wait, you hear that?
Oh, it's quiet.
It's silence.
Well, apart from the really loud ringing in my ears. Or is that a telephone?
Do First Win actually survive this? Wait, what's going on?
Oh, everyone's having to leave. Someone's getting back door.
Their boom on each other.
What? Are they just throwing it out their bases?
I think so. AAA, go back for defense. I'm wondering if, like, maybe someone from First Win, they all had like bags around these other bases with like stashes of like a C4 and decided to throw one down.
There does just seem to be a lot of random people out, doesn't there? Like Pyrokeens is fighting gaming chair over there. Like
it was a weird moment where everyone just stopped booming at the exact same time that all these raids popped up. Is that a strat, do you think? Just throw down a base, throw down a stash, and then you press the panic button, everyone spawns on those bags and starts to raid and gets everyone to F1 and go back to base.
I don't know what happened. Maybe they heard a baby crying like that bit in Children of Men.
Well, that's the raid defense points coming in for First Win as well. And now there's only Vakrir here, slow remnants of the rest of the Raiders trying to come back and regroup, but there's only 30 seconds remaining, and First Win, barring a miracle coming out from any of these players, they will be the victors of today.
Oh, here comes the camper van. Nerms brought his recreational vehicle. What a
First
time
win
it's on
now.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, they've
It's like
pushed out.
is
Oh
it?
man, what a way to finish it. Nice attempt coming out from the rest of the server here to try and deal with first win. And that's going to be the victory going their way. They get the extra points as well for the raid defense. Congratulations to first win. By the way, take a look at the stat line. 1 raid completed.
5 defenses. Good God, was that all just at the end?
I think so. 5
Wow.
raid defenses, 408 kills, 270 deaths. Not bad at all. And it's a pretty even spread across the team.
Yeah, that's a good team, KD. And I think you're right as well. Considering it's 8s, usually the disparity always gets much bigger between top and bottom where players there are, obviously. Everybody put in the work there. And I'm pretty sure at least one of those 2 people at the bottom was building for a good portion of that defense as well.
Yeah. I mean, when you could.
Yeah.
There were a few moments, of course, I believe. First one put a lot of focus on Big Kahuna, right? Early on, and weren't successful in that raid until ultimately they were. It was about around the 30-minute mark in the raid phase where they were finally able to finish off Big Kahuna. And I believe that was the one raid completed.
Yeah.
We
It
were
seemed like
surprised.
that was going to be the first thing that they did. You know, one of those 2 teams was going to go out pretty quickly because they were really isolated. They were both fighting over hard point. And there wasn't a whole lot of other teams in the vicinity at all. So I was surprised that it took that long.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of 2 ways that it could have gone, right? Either they get taken out early on, or it's just they keep fighting the entire time. And that's pretty much what happened, except for the few times that someone tried to raid first win, pulled them away from Big Kahuna. But this is, I think, one of the first times we've seen a team that ended up winning out through the attack phase and then carried on in a surprising manner, I would say, at the very least, and walking away with the victory there.
Yeah, good for them as well. I think that is actually first ones. But they've been called that more than once, so I can't remember at this point. It's like Batman.
Yeah, they stepped up to bat and called their shot, and were able to take it. But it was honestly a great way to finish off the 8v8s. Simple fact that basically every team showed up and trying to take them down. And let's take a look at the stats for Foo Spooky here, our number 2 team. They were eclipsed a bit though. That was 100 and almost 70-point difference between them and first win. But it looks like Foo Spooky weren't able to get much done throughout the raid phase. It looks like because of the format, right? With the 8v8s, like the raid defenses can take so much longer.
Yeah.
And so they only got 1 raid completed. They got 2 defenses and 344 kills.
Yeah, less teams means less bases and obviously means less opportunity to actually get a raid by yourself as well. I don't think I saw Spooky attempting a raid where there wasn't at least one other team and like next to them. There's not a whole lot you can do about that.
I believe we started the day off with 17 teams. So definitely less TCs out there, but I think the pace of today's raids as well. A lot of times we see that transition, right? When we go from attack phase to raid phase, that typically, there's a team on top of a base ready to raid once we make that swap on over. And our first TC didn't actually go down until about the 10-minute mark. So you can see how having the extra members, having the big team of 8, can slow down these raids immensely.
Definitely, the giant ass bases that you get in 8v8 definitely contributes to that as well. Like you might be ready at the start of the raid phase where you got your platform all set up and your rockets on the go, but it still takes 10 minutes to get to the core because the thing's huge.
Yeah, and I mean, first win. I think the first raid really started around the 13-minute mark. So they had their work cut out for them, especially with about 40 players outside of their compound, just nonstop booming. We had multiple players inside as well. Taking a look at for career, our 3rd place squad, 1 raid completed, 1 raid defense, and 349 kills. So it wasn't a lot of like TC heavy snowballing that we typically get to see when we have our smaller teams. This was just more sheer PvP throughout the 90 minutes of the raid phase.
Yeah, there was so many raids just getting choked out. during their attempts there. It was really hard for anybody to actually get completed on them. And I think some of our teams that got more TCs are already out also, which is probably accounting for the lack of total from some of the winners.
And I'm trying to remember for career. I think they were one of the first teams to actually get ATC. Had one of the first raids within the first 15 minutes of our raid phase. And so that goes to show, the paces of these raids are extremely slow. We did have maybe one base that didn't quite fit up to snuff for what you would expect here in the eights, but everyone came with their A game today. You see how chunky and how defendable a lot of these bases were, particularly again, first win. Their base took quite the beating there in the last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, that was super impressive how much of that was left standing at the end. I can still hear the boom right now.
The
It's still
delayed
going off in
C4.
one
I
of my
think you
ears.
just have shell shock at this point.
That could do. Definitely got tinnitus.
That is a horrible combination. Let's take a look at Gattaca, I believe. They might be in a similar case as yep. One raid completed, one raid defense, 330 points for them. That was the squad that I believe when we joined with them, they were waiting inside of the raid that they won, and they were trying to get all that boom and move on. And so it was really unfortunate. They ended up, I believe, basically losing out on that loot to Foo Spooky, who tried to turn that around onto that first win base.
Yeah, it didn't convert, but they did. Yeah, they're obviously very keen to get out there with all of that, all that booty, but they were denied pretty heavily. I think that happened to them a couple of times.
Yeah, that's split though. Take a look between Foo Spooky and Gattaca. 44 points. That's all that separated them. So this was really anyone's game at the end there. If anyone could have taken off first win, if Gattaca ended up taking up that TC, picked up a few PvP kills for them, they could have been in first place.
Yeah, it's pretty much down to any of those teams could have won out with that TC. It's a shame they didn't get it, but kudos to the defense on first win's base. That thing was meaty. It wasn't perhaps as effective as the salt circle that Papa had around their base, but
I'm still trying to figure out what happened at that 2-minute mark where the boom just stopped. It just stopped at this exact same moment. Everyone decided to stop rocketing, and you saw that all the raids came up across the map and the remaining bases. I just want to get some insight onto that. Right now, I think we're trying to get some word on whether or not we do have a winner's interview or not.
Think we do.
Okay, we'll wait for Gigi to let us know in just a moment. Let's take a look at Potatoes stat line if we can. We saw them. They were pretty active throughout a lot of the raid phase.
So let's have a look at Potatoes one, sorry, because I think we already looked at it.
Yeah, there we go. Potato. So, hey, 2 raids completed for Potato, and I'm wondering if that's the most raids completed on the day.
It's definitely it's the most we've seen out of the surviving teams for sure. But they were pretty even on their kill spread as well. Obviously, we're looking at much lower on the kills than higher teams on the scoreboard. I think that's down to a lot of Potatoes' time was spent outside rocketing more than anything else, which is probably what netted them their TCs also.
Yeah. We also had a pretty far spread amongst of our bases. We only had the 17 squads, of course, and a pretty large map, and so we didn't have like the large grouping of bases. There was like maybe a grouping of 4 off on one side and then 2, 3 on the other. It wasn't a huge grouping that we kind of sometimes typically see here in Base Invaders. It was a pretty even spread across the map with a lot of isolated bases as well. So just kind of came down to the day where you weren't able to kind of snowball into your next raid. But good effort coming out from Potato. You can see them down there in 5th place with 365. But right now, I don't think we have a winner's interview. So I think we should just call it here, Ian. I mean, Ian, I had a fantastic day casting with you today. What were some of your favorite moments from today's stream?
Well, if I had to pick an MVP, it's going to be our man Leon Kennedy. who was instrumental not once but twice in taking those crates from Heli, and also pointing out that TC to his teammate like Lassie the dog.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
he's a
those are the
man
ones
that
that
can do
stick out.
everything. He can save the president's daughter. He can sniff out TCs and he can steal away heli crates. So yeah, there were some great moments throughout, and I love to kind of see the evolution that has been taking place throughout Base Invaders and the time that I've been able to cast it. I've been having an amazing time and a fun time. Any final words before we close out the day, Ian?
Congratulations to first win. I didn't expect to see them at the top of the board because, I expected it to happen like I called it. So good job on them for making me look like a fool.
That's right. Congratulations, first win for taking the day here for North American Base Invaders 8v8s. But that will go ahead and do it for us. So, for everyone here at Base Invaders from Rustoria servers, along with our sponsors, Rusty Pot, thank you all so much for tuning in and sticking with us. We will be back next week, of course, same time. EU will be starting off early, of course, and then NA will be back. We don't know quite yet how many players it will be, but of course, just keep an eye on our socials for that. And if you want an opportunity to compete, just make sure you have enough friends to sign up and join in on the action. That will do it for us. So thank you all so much for tuning in and have a great week.